Okay.
And we are live. Traveling Man Mullins, Craig Rieter, in my upper right. Joe Cefalou. All right, let's share this baby. All right, you guys ready for an intro?
Yep.
Hello, friends, fans, and faithful followers. Welcome to the ABTA Monday Night Live, where we sit at the intersection of training and tracking, bringing it to you the only way we know how. No nonsense and no politics. Craig, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I am great. Kenny, where you traveling to?
Delacroix, Louisiana.
What type of fishing tournament? Redfish?
Yep.
Redfish. Isn't it tarpon season down in South Florida?
Yeah. We'll be tarpon fishing. What? 2 weeks? 3 weeks.
3 weeks? Do
Yep.
you get them up there by you in northern Florida, or do you have to go down south for those?
We get them in North Florida, pretty much all over the state. But I will be going to kind of Central Florida in a few weeks.
Nice, cool. Well, folks, today we are joined by Craig Rieter, Craig is a Ohio tracker and also a Ladner Blackmouth Cur Royal and Silver litter owner. New pup out of the same litter that Rizzo's from. And we're just going to talk about puppy training today. We may have Joe Tenney may join us. He has 6 kids. He also has one from that same litter. Kenny, you got 2 that day, but neither of them are from the same litter. But you got 2 pups. One's going to be a squirrel dog, and one's going to be another deer dog, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, but different litter, but still Ladner line, so that's good. And it just happens to be Ladner line because I was wondering, man, I got to come up with a topic for tonight's stream as I'm panicking about this yesterday. And then I see Craig post a video in that little group we created for the Royal and Silver litter about the great work that his little Harper is doing. And I go, there it is. There's the topic. I know, several of us are starting new puppies, and we're all chatting about it. So I said, we're going to talk about puppies. I hope Craig will join us. So we did. Thank you, Craig.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hi, Brian. Hi, Matt. Thanks for joining, guys. So before we start just rambling about puppy training, and I want to just take a moment and talk about the forthcoming events. We might as well say Alabama is here. It's May 1 through 3. So next week, Alabama. We have, it's not too, there still may be able to accommodate some tests. We're right on that ragged edge of whether we can or not. If you're interested in testing in Alabama and you have not registered yet, inquire. We'll see if we can accommodate. We've had some last minute shuffling, as happens with events, but and it's certainly not too late to register for seminar. It's going to be pretty good stuff. So if you're interested in Alabama, Greensboro, Alabama, at the cattle ranch, it's not too late. Inquire within, or hit AmericanBloodTrackers.org events, and you can get registered there. Then we roll out of Alabama May 1 through 3 and catch our breath for half a second and hit Pennsylvania May 29 through the 30th. The Pennsylvania event is shaping up to be a doozy, man, in a good way. Michael Beck, if you're listening, great job. Lauren, great job on pulling that together and promoting that and getting the registrations. In fact, I don't even know how many we have, but last I looked, it was a whole bunch. That's an official. That is an official measure, a whole bunch, for those that were wondering. So really good stuff. And then we'll have a little bit of time, and then we'll do Michigan, June 12th and 13th, 12 testing, 13 seminar. And then I believe the last one is Tennessee, mid-August. It's coming fast. Yes, Michael, it is. Yep, it's coming fast. So Alabama, May 1 through 3, next week. Pennsylvania, May 29 to the 30th. Lots of tests and lots of people and great seminar. And then Michigan, June 12 and 13, 12 testing, 13 seminar. And then August, mid-August, the dates are not in front of me. I haven't put a whole lot of commitment into, or not commitment, but we haven't started the official work on Tennessee yet, but it's greater Knoxville area and mid-August. So that I don't have any tracking news either. I've gotten assumed a new role at work, so I've just been very, very busy at work, and I haven't had time to do a lot of the thinking and in searching, and I've been distracted by other things. So I don't have any tracking news, but I'll try to fix that for the next stream. Try to see what we have in tracking news. I do know that the Pennsylvania off-lead mission is still going. So hopefully there'll be some tracking news coming up soon. But so that brings us to the topic of the hour, man, puppies. And what I want to do tonight is just talk about puppy training. We all have different philosophies, different approaches, different things that we've learned. Some of us, it's our second dog. For me, Craig, I guess it's kind of your second dog too. Kenny's your 150th dog or whatever it is. So we've learned things along the way, and if some listening, provide comments. Maybe somebody out there is working on their first dog. So, I just want to have a fun conversation. Talk about the comparisons, Craig, between Harper and Rizzo, since they're litter mates, and Kenny, although I know Haas isn't a litter mate, but he's out of the line. I don't know if you've done any work with him. I know the poor dude got snake bit the other day. Literally, I've been by snake. How's he doing?
He's doing good. We're having to watch one of his toes. The vet said the snake may have dislocated.
Oh.
No. Back place.
Okay. Yeah, folks, Kenny is in a very spotty reception area in heavy traffic.
I'm back.
Brandy is driving the boat, or driving the truck, pulling the boat, and Kenny's over here pushing the imaginary brake on the passenger side of his best friend's ride. But anyway, yeah. So I'm glad Hoss is doing all right, man. Hopefully that toe is going to make it, and but yeah. So
it should be fine. It may be dislocated.
Yeah, good. But Craig, let's start with a little. Just give us a quick 60-second bio of Craig Rieter and who you are and what you do, and then we'll roll in, because you and I spoke a little bit this afternoon about about the difference between the dog you started with, and there's a whole story there that involves both of you, and I'd love to have you share that story, and then just kind of let that roll into what you're doing with Harper and the work you've done and the vision you have and the work you want to do and in your philosophical approach and all of that stuff.
I don't know about philosophical, but yeah, no, it's been a very slow, honestly, I would say 2-year start for me. Just trying to get in the game. Never was a dog trainer, never anything in the tracking world, but just by chance, I ended up with Scout, who obviously Kenny knows, and worked with him for a year. And my suggestion to anybody that has no experience training a dog for this: do not start with a drawer. Because for me, it was a nightmare. And I don't think it was a dog. I think it was me. It was very hard for me to read that dog and understand. And they are wild. They run a big area. They're not going to sit there and just follow the line to the T, from what I saw. But so we had some circumstances with Scout that fortunately I met Kenny in Michigan last year at your event.
Oh, I think you froze up, Craig.
Must have got a phone call.
He's on his tablet, his iPad. Maybe it's not my service, because we had some rain blow through here, and there's some areas around me that are out of power. So I wouldn't be surprised if I end up losing power. If we do, we'll work it out. But anyway,
I brought my Starlink mobile. I brought my Starlink mobile to so I could do this. But whenever we had a tire separate and it took almost 8 hours to get a set of tires, it put us behind.
8 hours to get a set of tires. Wow.
Yeah.
You must
Craig's
have.
back.
There.
I think I'm back. Was it? I lost you.
Yeah, your service dropped out a little bit there, Craig. So we're back. But you were talking about your drought and the just not knowing what to expect, and the way it worked wasn't what you were expecting.
It was 100% not what I was expecting, and like I said, I think it was no disservice to the dog. It was me, and so Scout went to Kenny. Obviously, he's doing great things with him. I, ironically enough, ended up with Scout's sister after that, and still the same. I just always felt like I was beating my head against the wall. The dog can do it. I know the dog can do it. I really struggle with reading how big of an area they run, and they work. And I've tried to figure it out with this one, and I feel like I'm starting to get somewhere. I've been running a few off lead tracks, just trying to watch what she's doing. All right, this is what she's doing without being attached to that lead. Really helped.
Yeah, because you're in Ohio, which is a non-lead state.
Yes, but just watching her off lead helped me tremendously learn. All right,
Yeah.
she's doing it. I'm just expecting something different. And then I go to Harper, the Cur, and it was night and day. This this little puppy is just nose to the ground and right on the track and so easy to read, at least for me, at least this dog. And it was an eye opener. She's doing really well. I've only done 5 or 6 tracks with her where she's already at 10 hours. Hooves
Yeah.
only.
No, don't rub it in.
No. Because trust me,
No,
I'm no
I'm
expert trainer, but she actually
I'm
makes me
teasing you,
feel like
buddy.
I've been doing something right.
Yeah. Well, in all seriousness, though, man, that's pretty cool. Because we've only done we've done 5 tracks with Rizzo, real tracks. I did some curiosity things just to see what she would do when she engaged with odor, because I couldn't stand it. I had to see, and it was a really slow start. I mean, she didn't really engage, and I said, okay, I got to buckle down and really try this and do it the right way. And yeah, she's doing. I will go as far as to say okay, for as much work as we put into it. We've been doing a lot of hear and set work, whatever a lot means, but really not much more than that. So,
Well,
Ken,
anyone want to take a guess how many tracks I've done?
Oh, I know how many you've done, but I'll let Craig guess.
Probably 0.
0.
Yeah. I was gonna wait.
I do not start my personal dogs till they're at least. Well, I really don't start any dogs till they're at least 6 months old.
Yeah.
And I told Matt earlier, right or wrong, I did start her earlier than I planned on, and that was more for the fact that I've been trying to get this going for 2 years, and I, at this point, don't know that I have a dog for this coming season, so that I pushed it. She's accepted it well. Now, do I have a lot of obedience and stuff to work on? Yeah. I still got a lot of obedience to work on, recall for sure. But
Yeah.
I did start it kind of early, but she took to it well, I think.
Yeah,
Well,
I will say this one thing to keep in mind, especially with the Cur, is you got to challenge them. But there's a fine line to walk at the young age because their attention span is only so long. You don't want to burn them out. It's just like a toddler. If you throw too much at them, they'll just quit. So that's
yeah.
a bit of advice that I'll share with you because I learned that the hard way. I almost got rid of the best dog I've ever had. At 4 months old, she was running 30-hour-old mock trails like they were nothing, half-mile long, and then just quit on me. And I was going to get rid of her. I've shared this before, but I pushed her too hard, too fast, and then I stalled out, and she got bored, and she was done.
Yeah, and I think I know somebody who may have done that early on. I think the dog has rebounded, but there was some stuff early on. I think they pushed it a little too hard, too early, and at least that's my impression. So I've been a little paranoid about that, but I couldn't help myself. I wanted to. I'm watching Craig put lines down, and I think Larry Beckham, who's been on the show 2 or 3 times now, he's also got one out of the same litter as Craig and I, and I'm like, man, I can't stand it. I got to go try it, and I would tell you this, man, it's different than a bloodhound. It is way different than a bloodhound. I reflect back to when Brew was a puppy, 5 years ago or whatever it's been almost, and their styles are different. But again, it's been 5 years, so maybe I don't remember things like I think I do. But it's.
Well, I do want to add a little disclaimer in there. I kind of have an age of 6 months that I say, but ultimately I let the dog dictate that. And like Hoss right now, he may not even be ready at 6 months.
Yeah,
it's I just wait for that maturity level to hit right and them to show me that they're ready, and then I start. And Craig,
how do you decide that, Kenny?
That's where I was going, Craig.
Yeah, I really don't know how to explain. Like you'll see them start to mature. You'll see them focusing more, and really how you can tell is through your obedience work. When you start seeing that switch flip with their obedience and them staying focused, especially if you teach a stay, and they can stay for length of time, and their recall is spot on. You'll know, and once all that starts clicking, you're ready to start progressing with some serious tracking training.
Yeah, I will tell you this: when I was experimenting with it and flirting with it, she was pretty young. How old are they now? They're like, I don't know, 16 weeks or something, 17 weeks. Craig, something like that. I don't know. 4 months. Let's call it 4 months. Let's call it 4 months. So you're born December 14th. This litter. So they were pretty young when I was kind of flirting with it, and being the second dog, this is one thing that I found. My approach, my thought process with a second dog is completely different than it was with Brew, my only dog at the time when she was a puppy. I sort of, Craig, what you described. I didn't have a dog, and I wanted to track in the fall. I got Brew in October, and I wanted to track the next fall. So I felt, pressure, self-induced pressure to get this dog trained and going, so we're ready to go. I just don't feel that now. It's like, yeah, well, we're gonna be okay. We're gonna do our thing, and if she's not ready to track a deer, that's okay, because I got a dog that can track deer pretty well, So just the approach is totally different. But then I find myself getting excited about it, seeing her litter mates do great things. Kenny's got me so freaking over the moon and such high expectations, and not just Kenny, but others too. Joe and Landon and others I've spoke to about the Ladner line have got me so over the moon with my expectations that I can't stand it. I want to get out there and see this little miracle worker work miracles, and I mean that in a very appropriate, loving way, and she's gonna be fine. She's a little spitfire, man. I imagine Harper is too, and so it's just funny though how for me anyway, the second dog, when you already have a very serviceable, pretty decent dog, how it changes at least my thinking.
Well, you kind of hit on something there that we probably need to touch on early. Is the biggest mistake people makes with their second dog is not giving them the ability to shop. You have your crutch that you lean on, and you're going to lean on that crutch probably more, or I'm going to say you will lean on that crutch more than you need to, which doesn't allow the second dog to grow. And it's the majority of people does it. I've done it in the past. Now, just like last season, Craig saw it. I ran Scout more than I did Dixie. Dixie's got it. It was Scout's time to step up.
And Dixie, for the record, is a Ladner Cur.
Yep.
Ladner Blackmouth Cur. And you got Craig's Draught and turned her loose, and she mowed down Florida. But, and that's a common, like I said, I'm going to experience it. I'm not so naive to think I'm not. Of course I am. But it's a common conversation that, that I have with lots of people who have second dogs. I have plenty of buddies who have started second dogs, and they tell you that all say the same thing. Exactly what you just said. The second dog just doesn't get the tracks. And, and I don't know. So here was my thought on that one time when I was kicking around getting a second dog. When Bruce just now, I think, kind of hitting her prime. Was the timing was right for, was the timing right for a second dog? And because my wife was receptive to it, that automatically made it the right time. We got the Blackmouth, we got the Ladner, and but my thinking was, look, if I get one now that's going to live 13 years or something, my bloodhound is going to live 9 or 10, probably maybe 11. But she won't be serviceable all 11 years. She'll retire at some point. But my thinking was, I know that the puppy's not going to get the lines that my A dog is. But if I'm thinking about succession, getting that puppy now that's going to have X number of tracks under her belt when it's time for me to rely on her when Brew does get injured or something happens that she can't track, as opposed to waiting later into her career and then having a puppy that's got even less experience. So that was kind of my twisted logic into, I know she's not going to have the tracks, but I'm not getting her to be the primary dog. But when it is time to ramp her up, I felt like I was starting from I'm starting from an elevated position. I've already got some stuff in the bank. I'm not starting out fresh,
That's the opposite of where I'm at right now. I have a older dog that I'm just not ready with. So I'm trying to push this dog that, quite honestly, is just being easier for me. And then I'm not going to give up on the draw. I'm still going to work with that draw.
Yeah.
But it's just more of a challenge for me.
Yeah. Well, and I say that's okay, because what styles do you gravitate towards, right? I have a good friend of mine who he has a bloodhound and a lab, completely different tracking styles, and the lab is pretty good. He's off from a very well-known dog out of Illinois or Missouri, I forget which state, but a well-known tracker, very accomplished. And but the style is so different that I don't want to say he struggles with it, but it's he says he kind of does. The style, the lab style doesn't appeal to him, although he's a trustworthy dog and a very is coming along nicely. He's 4, I think now, something like that. He's doing fine, but the style is so different. He's just drawn to the bloodhound style. Let me put it that way. and he wants that line straddler, that nose to ground line straddler. Which, heck, I get it, man. And the lab's different from that. So what are you drawn to? What are your normal, you naturally drawn to in terms of style? And there's nothing wrong with, in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with, hey, you're drawn to Harper style a little better than you are your draughts. So if that's where you focus your efforts, so what? I mean, there ain't no shame in that game.
So the difference in that would be if Ohio, and I know Joe is pushing hard for Ohio to go off lead, which would be great. If we were off lead, I would probably 100% want to follow that draw hard because I'd have no doubt she's going to find the deer. But
Yeah.
they're just not fun to follow on a lead in the woods.
Yeah, I can imagine. I've never seen a drought work. So
It's tough because they're fast.
Well,
yeah,
I'll say this. I mean, Scout actually works true to the line on lead. You take them
Yeah.
off, and it's a different ball game.
Okay.
really. So he gets that little dose of freedom and off he goes, huh?
Oh yeah, all over the place, off lead.
Yeah. Well, I started to say, Kenny, you were talking about letting the dog kind of tell you when it's ready. And there's just something you can tell in some of its demeanor and behaviors and some of the things that it does. I will tell you this. I think I did notice a tiny bit. I mean, it wasn't this great distinction, but I think it was enough to be noticeable. Just in those few weeks that I waited from when I first started it, and she really didn't care about anything, to when I said, okay, Craig and Joe and Larry, who's chiming in here, both Larry and Joe are chiming in, watching them. I couldn't stand it. I had to do it. I could notice the difference just in that couple of weeks of maturity. So, and they're nothing close to mature right now. But I noticed it. So that was why part of the reason too that I wasn't overly worried about getting going too quickly, but I can't help it. Now I want to get going on it,
Yeah, and when I say mature, that's not obviously not completely mature dog. It's
No.
maturing in their behaviors.
In the progression. Yeah.
Yes. And I will say too, I mean, typically I see female dogs mature, or they reach that point sooner at an earlier age.
Yeah.
Now, Dixie didn't. Dixie was, you remember, she's about a year before I started with her. She just wasn't ready.
Yeah.
She wouldn't stay focused. Now, when that switch flipped, she was all business and didn't take long.
Yeah. And I'm kind of looking forward to that. Rizzo will do it. I mean, I think I need to age the lines longer. The up to 4 lines, they're only like 2 hours old. The one I ran with her yesterday was up to 6 hours. I had the grandkids came over, so I let it go. And of course, we all know 6 hours is still a white hot line. But for the puppy, I just like, I'm just gonna. I want her to show engagement with the line, and there was no difference whatsoever between that 2 hour old line and that 6 hour old line. I could probably go 8 or 10, Craig, like you're running right now, and I think she would do fine in her ability to follow the trail. But 90s are still a little bit of a problem for her, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's one thing I was going to say is I don't worry too much about age of the line because, I mean, they got it. If they'll track 2 hours, they'll track 4 hours. They'll track 4 hours. They'll track 8 hours.
Yeah.
It's just that focus. And really, it's the as you know, Matt. I preach this all the time. Problem solving is the key.
100%. And I am I'm a wholehearted believer in the problem solving. As a primary focus on learning. But
So let me ask you this real quick, Kenny. Do you think if you wanted to test how much focus they have at the moment, would a longer line do that? Just to see if they would, if you're doing quick 200-yard ones and you threw a 400 or 500-yard track, would that be bad?
I'm not looking for how long they will track. I'm looking for how long will they stick through trying to solve a problem.
Okay.
Because that's
yeah,
that's the true tell. I mean, following a trail is not the difficult part. I mean, dogs think through their nose. They think with their nose. You know? So it's more of how long will they work to get through a challenge, and that's what I'm looking for.
yeah. And I don't. Rizzo right now would not stick with it very often. I mean, she's still interested in other things. She'll follow the line, and she does okay. And pretty soon, oh, look at this deer trail. Let me come down here. I'm like, okay, you know. So I think it's that focus thing with her right now. She can follow the trail. She absolutely has the ability to detect the scent, follow the trail. And I just gotta make sure that she understands that the end of that trail is a super cool, fun thing, and make her want to continue to work that out. And we're getting there, And again, I'm not the least bit concerned at all.
That's why I don't work on distance as much at that age, as you are
Yeah,
introducing the opportunity to create issues, like them wanting to follow other scent. Where at that age, I'm more focused on shorter stuff and focused challenges.
yeah, yeah. Because right now, all I want her to do is, I want a 90 in there just to see what she does. But that is the only challenge or intended challenge. Right now, I just want her to engage with the line and show interest in the line and follow it. That's the only thing I'm really concerned about with her right now. And then getting that exposure and understanding that at the end of that is a super cool something, you know. And I think my longest line's only been about 116 yards, because I do all of that. She can show engagement. And we spend time. One thing I did so I use liver. I've talked about it a million times. I use liver chunks in a glass jar. So typically what I'll do when we get to the end is I unscrew the jar and I dump the liver chunks out. Well, she inhales them just like Brew does, and it's gone in, half a second. Yesterday, I took it off and I just set it down and let her have to work and work and work and try to get it out of that jar by herself. Her tongue's going in there, licking it. And I thought, well, maybe that will really induce some drive. And this is wonderful. Look how much I get to lick the blood on this jar and finally, work at getting that liver out. And she seemed to enjoy the hell out of it.
Yeah, and there again, I do things a little different. I don't make the end a big deal. I make getting out and getting time in the woods a big deal. Because at the end of the day, the majority of your tracks are not going to end with something at the end.
I agree. What do you think? But when we're talking about starting puppies, though, Kenny, do you think though that getting them to understand and want to come back to the next line though early on that it's that you should try to make it interesting for them and fun at the end?
I just do it with praise.
Yeah.
I play with them, pet them.
Yeah.
That's all I do. I mean,
yeah, I do a lot of that too.
There's some people that'll play, and I'm not saying one way's wrong.
No, I get it.
I just prefer for the focus to be more on the track itself, the work itself, than the end.
Yeah.
I want them, just the way I am. I'm not saying one way is wrong or right.
Yeah, of course.
It's just what I prefer.
That's what I wanted this discussion to be. Just our everybody has your philosophies and your approaches, what's worked for you, and just share them, because people have trained thousands and thousands of dogs different ways, and a whole bunch of good dogs finding deer. There there are things you can do that can be harmful, I suppose, but in general, you know, what you believe is what you believe, and what you're drawn to is what you're drawn to. You know. Yeah, Mike says realizing that you're trying to make a toddler a pro athlete and remembering that will help with training. It will help establish the bond between the puppy and handler. So many damage that early on and ruin a dog that could have been a superstar. Yeah, and I think that goes back to what we talked about earlier. If you're just pushing it too hard and expecting too much, I mean, really, right now, our dogs' noses, these puppies' noses, are far more stronger than their brain's ability to process everything right now. Their brains have got to catch up to that. So, yeah, I think there's something to that. Patience, said the pot to the kettle. Larry, you're welcome. I need to hear this. Thanks. Yeah, Larry. It's all good, brother. They're just puppies, man.
But I mean, it's just no different than kids. I mean, you're not going to give a kindergartner algebra.
That's exactly and basically what Mike said, what Michael Beck just said. Yep.
So do you guys think just running like one track a week? I mean, even at their young age, is that even, or just as long as you don't challenge them too hard? Do you think, or
It's all on what you're doing.
yeah,
That I wouldn't. Me personally, I would not worry about long age tracks as much as, I mean, keep it fun, keep it short, but keep it challenging. You know, um, but I start on 90-degree turns first. Right hand, left hand. You know, and just short. I'll go. 70, 50, 75 yards to a 90-degree turn, 50, 75 yards to the end.
Yeah.
They start nailing that. And I'm not giving it to them at all. If they don't get to the end, they don't get to the end.
So let me ask you this, because that's very similar to my approach. That's going to be my training regimen and how I'm going to approach it. I'm just going to keep doing these, 100, 120 yard, 90-degree turns, and that's it until I feel like we can change it up. Maybe put 2 turns in and go whatever it is when she's ready. But we're just going to drill the dog crap out of these 90-degree turns, right and left, and that's it. But what the hell was I going to ask you? What was I going to say?
So typically what I'll do is I'll do 90-degree turns. They get that down. Next, I'll go to a terrain change. It might go from woods to open field, or open field to woods, or across the road.
Yeah. Guys, keep talking. I'll be right back.
and that's pretty much what you got laid out in your training program, Kenny, that you had sent me a while back, which is what I pretty much follow. Right now, I even being a little early, maybe they're 175, 200 yards long. I usually throw 290s in there, and that's it. And I don't know, she nails them. She really hasn't struggled with much.
Well, and that's the thing. That's where a lot of people they get so focused on longer lines, and the line itself is not a challenge. I mean, because that's what dogs do. They follow their nose. It's when you start adding those challenges in, that's what, I mean, at the end of the day, all we're doing is working with a dog to channel their natural abilities. That's all it is. The dogs can do it. I mean, there's dogs that do it every day without training, but it's when you get into those difficult situations where it can make the difference, and that's where the problem solving comes in.
Yep.
But let me ask you this, Craig: How are you laying your lines?
Hooves only.
Good deal.
I I probably the first track, just messing around, just kind of seeing if she would even pick it up. I did blood a little bit, and she got so focused on the blood she wouldn't progress. So I just quit using it, and I've just done everything hooves only. And I just did one yesterday with her, and I think I told her find it 6, 7, 8 yards away from where it started, and she no problem picked it up and went right to it. I didn't sit there and point to it, so I don't know.
What
I don't want to
challenges have
burn
you
her
been
out.
putting on the trail other than distance and age?
I'm sorry, what?
What challenges have you been throwing at her other than distance and age?
Right now, just 90s. It's just I started at a couple hour or an hour or 2 hours, and I worked up to 10 hours and 4 or 5 tracks. But I've only done 90s. I haven't done anything different. But she won't overrun a 90, maybe 4 or 5 yards, and she sits there and she works them out. I've only
Yeah.
stumped her once, and that wasn't intentional, but I did take it out of the woods to a field and did a 90, and she really struggled with that.
Train change.
Yeah, and I
There you
probably
go.
pushed her too hard.
Yep. Um, I remember what I was going to say, Kenny. This 90 talk made me think about it. So at this age, or when you're young, let me put it this way. 'Cause we've talked many times, and in general, I agree with this approach. But when you're just trying to, start the puppy and get it introduced and make it understand what you're trying to ask it to do, when that pup blows the 90 and then just like, okay, boom, and just takes off and doesn't try to really search for it in any meaningful way, what are you doing?
I bring it back and restart it. Not at the 90 where it was trailing before. I never give it the turn.
Yeah, right. You take it, okay. And I know we've talked about that a lot. And I just wondering how you did it with a brand new pup with 5 or 6 or 10 tracks under it. Just how you're doing it. So you're just taking it back, like we always talk about, back before the 90. Let it work back up to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, if you give it the 90, that they know that you're going to give it to them. What are they learning?
Yep.
So, and same thing with people that just stop and just give them to the end of the lead. Well, then you're teaching that dog that when I feel tension on that lead, I've missed something and I got to come back. Then what happens when you get hung up in the woods and that lead wraps up, and now all of a sudden the dog thinks, "Oh, I'm wrong. I got to correct myself and go find it."
Yep. And again, in general, I absolutely agree with that too. But so let me ask you this then: we're not on a 90. We are on a perfectly straight leg, and then the puppy is trekking along for a while. Then it wanders off the line and just starts going away from the line to do something else.
Yep.
What are you doing then?
I bring them back and reset them on the line.
Okay.
And if they won't take it, we're done. We call it a day.
So you're actually following the puppy until such time you realize, okay, this little snot's not going to come back. Then you go get it and bring it back to the line.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
And like I said, I don't try to force them to take it. I bring them back to the line. I ask them, to take it. And if they still just start wandering off, we're just done. We'll come back to it the next day or the day after.
Yeah. Yeah. Gene Ferris says, Matt, when you forget what you were going to say, that means you're getting old. Thank you, Gene. Yes, I agree with that. And my kids agree with that.
Getting?
What's that?
I said getting?
Getting. Yeah. Getting. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So when I started Baru, I didn't know anything. Thought I did. I mean, I knew enough to know a little, and I was doing the classic drags. Drag a leg. I had a frozen hide that I would take out sometimes and drag an entire frozen hide, drag that around, thinking, man, I gotta make sure there's enough scent there. All the while, not realizing how much scent I was really putting down. So
I did the same things.
I mean, it worked. A lot of people train with drags. My thinking has changed. You know, but I tried the hoof thing only, like you said. I think, Craig, we were talking this afternoon. I tried because I didn't want to use any blood at all. I'm like, man, this little ladder, this thing is going to burn down the woods. I'm going to put this hoof. She didn't care about the hoof. So then I started. I had to fight off the panic because I know intellectually, I know damn well it doesn't freaking matter. She is going to be fine. But I had, okay, let me try it with a little bit of blood. So I got some blood. I thinned it out with some distilled water and put it in a squirt bottle, instead of a drip bottle. I did. So now I put a little bit of blood down, and she did take to a little better. And I'm going to try it with just hooves only now, and see what she does, because I have no problem for those who want to train with blood, none whatsoever. I do think that there is something to the blood, but I just don't want to do it because it's a pain in the ass. I always make a mess with it, and it's just something else you got to manage. I just don't want to do it. And
it's a pain, but didn't you guys say last year in Michigan that the blood scent's kind of like human scent after about 10 hours ish? It's about gone anyway.
I don't know
Or
about
am I
that.
remembering that wrong?
Well, it evolves very quickly. It's a volatile compound.
Right.
Basically
Yeah,
it's just growing bacteria nonstop, and it just changes.
Yeah, I agree. The blood that you put down when you lay the line, or the blood that the deer puts down when it is shot, is not the same blood that you're tracking 12, 14, 18, 24 hours later. But my thinking has started to change on blood, and I think there's I think there's something in it. I think it changes for sure. And like you said, the bacteria, we know the bacteria, because shit, I mean, it stinks, right? The blood in the bucket from the deer you shot that's been hanging in your in your shed for a week because it's cool enough here in the north to do that. That blood starts to stink because it's bacteria, man. Yeah, it's changing.
Well, I think a lot of people misunderstands what I say. I mean, a dog, yes, it does track blood. It does smell blood. I don't want that to be my focus of training. I want my focus to be the non-volatile compounds.
Yeah.
I want them to focus on the scent that is on the trail that does not change and is consistent.
Yeah.
Yep, makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Where was I going to go with this? You know what I started doing? I started keeping these little journals. I'm doing some specific work with Baru this off season too. Some very purposeful stuff with her. And I started keeping these, and I just started it. These little journals from a track line, so I can go back and kind of see what I was thinking after that line, and see how it progresses. So if I can go back and say, what, man, she seemed to suck on that line. And I go back, oh shit, I thought the same thing on that line. Or, oh, actually, no, she's better because I made this note from the previous line. And it's not a lot of stuff. I just put the date for Rizzo. I got the line number because it's easy. It's line number 5, how long it was, what it was constructed with. and then what the challenges were. That's just kind of, and then and the age I do, and then I just ramble about whatever the hell is on my mind, whatever I was thinking, whatever my assessment was of that line. So I'm going to try that. I find it it keeps me engaged a little bit too, because now I'm anxious to see, and it keeps me inspired to go on a run line, because I can now document the progress, and I can see and do a comparison. So I'm excited about that. It's just these little, $2, $1 freaking things that I got at the Meyer store here in Michigan.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. It's like Matt, like you and I talk about. It's no different than keeping records of your tracks throughout the season so that you can
Yeah.
review them after season and see what you may need to work on during the off season.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
It's just knowing how to analyze that data to make your team better.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I agree. So, um,
Now, do you guys include video with that? Do you tape your actual tracks or just training tracks?
I just I've tried to record actual tracks, and I find it to be a little bit of a pain. If I can if I remember to do it and grab my camera and stuff, maybe I'll do it if I think it's going to be a decent track. But I don't want that to be a distraction either. I don't want to become focusing on my camera stuff and just that could detract from the actual track and the attention I should be giving to the hunter of the track. But I do occasionally record my practice lines. Sometimes I'll wear my action camera wherever it is. It's upstairs. A lot of times lately, I've just been grabbing my phone and recording moments of it, particularly with Rizzo.
I'll say this, when we get client dogs in, they always want to see videos, and I honestly, I get away from that because whenever we start recording, our focus becomes the recording and not the dog.
Yeah.
And I need every minute, every second to be focused on the dog.
Yeah.
Because you'll miss one little subtle thing. And when we're training these dogs at the intensity that we are and the span that we are, we need every second focused on that.
Yeah. But that being said, so Kenny, you're in a little bit different situation. You're doing it for other people.
Right.
I am a big advocate, Craig, of videoing your lines, because you can. This is the coach in me. You can break down that film and you can really learn a lot. Stuff that you missed. Kenny said you want every second focus on a dog, and that's true. But you can miss things too that you can go back and watch on that video. I mean, I've learned a lot of stuff in video. Breaking down film, to use my football term, breaking down film. So I'm a huge advocate for it. Again, I get lazy. It becomes a pain in the butt, always have the phone going, especially when I'm doing it on lead and it's getting tangled up. And then I get the GoPro. I got to remember to charge the battery. So I'm just a mess at times, and I default to the easy, and just screw it. I'm not going to record it. But I'm telling you, there's a lot of good to come of it if you do it right and know how to break it down.
Well, and I have been here lately. I got a DJI. I'll throw on my chest, so I don't have to worry about it. I just turn around and just walk, and then I can watch it later. And especially with being fairly new, right? Just trying to get into this. All right, what am I missing? What should I be looking for, or did I miss something?
Well,
Yeah,
the real value is someone else recording you, because 95% of the issues on the line is the handler, not the dog.
yeah, that's another good point. Yeah, you can, if you can get the perspective
I'd agree with that.
to see how you engaged with it, particularly on lead. Hell, even off lead, you've got to be consistent in how you handle the dog, or it could throw dynamics in that maybe you shouldn't or don't want to. I think I ran into that. I've talked about this before. I think I deprogrammed some stuff with my bloodhound because I changed as the season went on, because I'm old, like Gene said here, properly acknowledged. I'm old and forgetful, and I would forget, the end of line treat. So I think that changed how she, over time, how she engaged at the end of the line. It's already bad enough to have a bloodhound who doesn't give a crap about the deer, and then I changed the rules on her slowly because I'm forgetful. She's like, "Oh, okay, we're changing the rules." Well, I'm going to go sniff around some more, and realizing that the deers, she already found it, came back, and is going to go do something else now instead of stay with the deer or come back to me and deliberately stare a hole in my head until I give her the treat. Because she just doesn't care about the deer most of the time. Yeah, Gene. I said getting. See, you forgot what I said. I heard you, Gene. I heard you.
So uh, Craig sent me some videos of him and Scout early on in the training, and you probably remember this, Craig, but I reviewed the videos, and the things I was seeing wasn't Scout. It was Craig not being able to read Scout.
It was.
But Craig reviewed those videos, and he still didn't see that. There was a disconnect there. So there's also value in sharing those videos with someone else to get a different perspective.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
Yeah. And like Craig said earlier, Scout, his style just wasn't for him, and that's something to think about. That's another reason why I do recommend the Ladner Curs a lot, and the tackles a lot. It's, and I will recommend Labs a lot, but those are three dogs that seem to fit people the most. There's no one perfect dog for everyone, but those are the three that I would say fit the majority of the people.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, I am, even though we're still developing. Of course, we all are in terms of the tracking. I'm just smitten with this little Ladner. She's a sassy little stinker. She's a lover, and that's what I wanted. And I know Tanya's extreme and Kurt are extremely good at doing their pairings to generate certain characteristics. And what I have in Rizzo and out of our litter, Craig, is exactly what I was hoping for in a dog, in terms of temperament and the love, But it's still got the little spunkiness to him too that I like. And as she's getting older, is Harper the same way? But as Rizzo's getting older, she really seems to be finding her personality and really becoming pretty sassy, and it's annoyingly awesome.
She is. I'd say the last 2 weeks, I've really noticed, I guess I would say maturing, where I actually noticed it. Um, she's obviously still just a young pup, but
Yeah.
they are sassy. She does not stop torturing my drop.
Yep.
It's nonstop until the drop gets a little too rough, and then I gotta separate them. But
Yeah.
they get along well together. They play fight, but that little one, she doesn't leave her alone. She's always in it.
Kenny, is Haas pretty gritty?
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
What
very.
Do you know what the pairing was for Haas? Do you remember?
I can't remember.
Yeah, he's a good-looking pup. So
Yeah, I would. He's big.
yeah,
He's getting really big. He's what 30? He's 30 pounds.
are you
Oh my.
freaking kidding me? He's
Um,
30 pounds.
and he's younger. He's actually younger. What a
Yeah, I think
yeah.
he's about 2 weeks
Yeah,
younger, isn't
he
he?
was born in December.
Yeah, I think he was a week younger, something like that. Because Craig's and mine were born December 14th, and yours was a little
Okay.
bit. Well, I think a week before that or something. He's 30. Rizzo just broke 20 pounds. I took her to the vet last week. She was just now 23 pounds.
Yeah, I haven't weighed
Yeah.
Harper in a little bit, but she was always a lot lighter than what you guys were saying on Facebook there.
Well, she's now
Yeah.
Hoss is a male, so he's gonna be bigger. But the
Well, he's off
land,
of his dad is what 90 pounds,
oh my
85,
God,
85 pounds.
really?
Yeah.
Holy crap! That's as big as my. Oh no, that's 10 pounds lighter than my fat, overweight bloodhound right now. She's put on a little off-season weight. I got to work on that. But 30 pounds. Yeah, Landon's Oakley. He posted a picture of her the other day and of him, and man, he was a stud-looking dog too. Did you see that, Craig, in the
I
group?
did. Yes.
Man, he looks like
They're all
a
nice looking dogs.
good Lord. Yeah, I started to get a little concerned. I'm like, man, am I not feeding Rizzo enough because she's so much smaller than everybody else's dog? And no, that says no, man. She looks absolutely perfect. And that little, how much is Harper eating? Rizzo will eat 3 freaking cups like it's no problem and want more. I can't. I'm not gonna give her more.
Right now we got her at basically 4 a day, 2 cups in the morning, 2 cups in the afternoon, and I actually just cut her back because I switched her food, same brand, just different ratio, because I felt the same way. She wasn't really putting any weight on, and I switched her up a little bit, so I got to cut her food back. But she's starting to put some more weight on now. She looks a lot better.
Well, once my vet said that she looks perfect, I don't I'm not worried about it. I'm just gonna keep giving her what I give her, and I'll give her more a little bit as she gets older. But they're growing fast. So I want to make sure they're.
But Harper gets a lot of exercise every day too. I mean, she's out with the big one running every day, and
Oh
then we
yeah,
we typically will run them up the road on the side by side and let them go in a field for a little bit. I try not to run her too hard, just she's
yeah.
young joints and whatnot, but she gets a lot of
Mhm.
exercise in a day, so
What brand are you feeding her?
it's called Extreme Dog Fuel.
Extreme Dog Fuel, huh? Where do you get that?
So actually, well, Tony knows him, or Kenny knows him. My neighbor Tony, he was the breeder for those Drahars, and he actually sells that food. Used to feed a Nookshuk, got kind of pricey, and he's on this Extreme Dog Fuel now. Had good luck with it.
That's cool. I'm just feeding Diamond Naturals. Kenny, you're feeding Diamond Performance, and I saw that in the
Yeah.
store the other day. So I'm going to look at that. Maybe switch.
Yeah, during season, especially with Scout. Scout, I have to switch to the Diamond Extreme Athlete, and well, Scout and Dixie both. We just run so hard, and Scout burns so much energy. But both of them will lose weight even at the 30-20, so we have to bump it up. But the rest of the dogs, uh, whatever the Diamond, whatever you just said it is, Performance.
Diamond Performance, yeah.
Yeah, we feed that in the off season, and most of the dogs during season, except for Scout and Dixie, we have to bump them up.
Yeah, I supplement Baru. I don't change her brand of food, but I do supplement her with I'll usually put some bone broth on her food during the season. And I right now I have to cut little Miss Tubby Butt back to 3 cups. I mean, that freaking little Ladner is eating as much food as my bloodhound.
Yeah, Hoss especially, we have to watch him. He will, if you put a 50-pound bag down, he's going to try to eat the whole bag. But he's also a big dog. Where Sassy, she hardly eats. She kind of just snacks a little bit here and there.
Really? Okay.
What's she weigh now? I think Sassy's right around 20 pounds, but she's a couple months older than the rest, or a month older than the rest, I think.
Yeah, I remember. But Sassy's only 20 pounds?
20. I think she was 23 last time we were at the vet.
23, and frickin' Hoss is 30. You say?
Yeah.
Who's notably younger than Sassy, because Sassy she seemed leggy and just sleek anyway.
Yeah, she still is.
Yeah.
Very agile. I mean, she can move, she can jump really high. It's Hoss, not so much. He's clumsy.
Rizzo is very athletic, but she's also very clumsy. She'll trip over a blade of grass and then she'll tear off and jump off. Oh yeah, I think she's part spider monkey. I didn't realize they bred spider monkeys into the Ladner line at some point, but
that's the way Sassy is. I refer to her as a spider monkey all the time.
Yeah, well, you better be careful because she's gonna be your squirrel dog, right?
Yep.
She'll be up in that tree getting them squirrels in.
Oh yeah.
Man, that's funny. Let's take a question. Ansley Appling says, question for young puppies. How often do you recommend working them? We have a 12-week-old, very high drive puppy learning recovery. She'll go all day if we let her, but I work with her twice a week, focusing on having fun right now and building drive, though. 12-week-old puppy. I don't know. That sounds about right to me, Kenny. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I let the dog let me know what they can handle, and you'll know when they start losing focus and wanting to do everything but what you want them to do. Just stop. Give them a break. There's times even older dogs that we'll get them in and we'll start training, and all of a sudden we'll start seeing a little regression, and we'll just give them a couple days off, and then they'll snap right back.
Yeah, I've always thought that too, and I just thought that, not that I have this great experience with it, but let the dog dictate the pace. If the dog, because I will tell you this. Kenny, I'm curious what you think. My personal opinion is, based on limited experience, is going less is going to be better than going more. So even if the dog could do more, and you're only running one line a week when the dog could be perfectly happy running 2 or 3, is better than running 6 or 7 when the dog really only wants to run 2 or 3.
Right.
That's what I think. Again, I base that just on my own thinking, not based on any kind of experience.
Yeah, I tell everyone, you never want to push your dog to burnout. Just like with kids. I mean, you push your kids, and they're going to rebel. And they're going to do what you don't want them to do.
Yep. But if the dog is happy and engaged and seems to love it, then I don't see a problem with it if the dog is truly enjoying it. But I think it's something you probably need to pay close attention to.
Well, it's like one of the people watching, Brittany, her bloodhound, he loved it, and we could work him on 3 or 4 trails a day every day and not burn him out. Where other dogs, we might get to work 1 a day. So it's
Yeah.
just every
Yeah, I'm
dog's different.
following you. Yeah.
What's typical for you? I mean, dog depending, obviously, but what's normal for you when you do have a dog in training?
It all depends. It's and it also depends at what stage. I mean, early on when we're focused on shorter, more isolation drill training, we can run 3, 4, 5 a day. But once we start putting those together, because like I laid out for you, Craig, in the training guide I sent you, start with a challenge, then you switch to another challenge, then you come back and you pair those two together on a line, and then you work on another challenge, and then you come back, you pair those 3. So once you start doing that and you start adding in multiple challenges and longer distance and longer wait times, you know, about once is enough. It's if you study dog behavior and obedience training, and I'm sure you'll talk to Tony, and I'm sure you have. You're not going to do a hour long obedience training session.
No.
Right.
You're going to go backwards with it. And here we're asking a dog to be focused in training for an hour. You don't want to do that multiple times a day.
Yeah, that's yeah. You know what, Kenny? You just said something that that kind of popped in for me. We're doing obedience stuff with Rizzo, and look, I am a horrible obedience trainer. I get lost. I'm not really sure exactly what to do or how to do it. I kind of know what to do, but not necessarily how to do it. So I'm doing stuff, very basic stuff. Teaching a dog how to trail a line, I'm very comfortable with that. But the obedience thing, it's not my thing. But we're working on stuff, and I'm working on trying to be consistent with it. But you talked about attention span. I've always thought, man, I want to try to get 10 or 15 minutes in. Well, that little runt, I can probably get 6 or 7 minutes in, and then she's looking over here and looking over there and won't look at me when I try to get her to come. So I'm like, okay, we're done then. We'll get 5 or 6 good heres and 5 or 6 good sits and implied stays in, and then she starts just gawking around. Like, okay. So I don't know if that's just because she's young or she's bored or what.
Just young, and that's where most people make mistakes, especially with collar conditioning. They first off they expect more out of the dog than what the dog's capable of at that point in training. And I know Craig did a great job with Scout's obedience, Craig and Tony. And I can tell they did it right. Where I'm not big on obedience for my tracking dogs. I want them to come when I tell them to come. I want them to sit when I tell them to sit. That's all I care about.
Not me too.
Now,
me too.
I will say this: Scout with a solid downstay. That training saved us. It bailed us out on a track this year because we went on, and I know I'm getting off a little
it's okay.
rabbit trail here, but here's what happened. So I went and tracked a bear. We recovered the bear. While I'm there, we get a phone call to come track a deer. And we get there, and we had 2 dogs. One was our actual bear dog, and he took the trail, and he will track a deer too, but he starts baying about 300 yards out, and I said, I told John, I said, I just don't, I don't think he's right. I think something's off here. And Scout went a different direction. And so I called Scout back. I restarted him, start trailing again. And again, he goes right. And I follow him. And he shows treat on the handheld to get over there. And there's a dead hog laying there. I said, okay. And it was a perfect shot on it, and it was laying beside the road where it had been drug out. There was no disclosure that the hog was shot. So he was so jacked up. That was the first time he'd ever seen a hog. And he was super excited. Well, when I went to restart him, he was still jacked up, wanting to go back to that hog. I put him in a downstay at the shot site. And he's laying there, and all of a sudden, he started smelling. The nose was popping. I knew he was locked in. I let him go, and he went straight to the deer. So there was value in that training right there. Typically I'm not really worried about that, because two things I care about is come here when I tell you to come here, and sit when I tell you to sit.
Yeah, I agree with that. I will tell you this: I've done now. Brew won't go down, or at least you didn't think. I didn't train her to. Again, failure on my part. But I will tell you, just in the concept of stopping the dog, preferably on the line if they're acting squirrely, if you know where line is, and just taking that break. And I've done that before, and based on a recommendation from someone that was mentoring me a little bit when I was just getting started, I was all distraught because this was supposed to be an easy recovery, all of the things, we naively think. And she was acting a fool. I was on my way, I was leaving, and I got the call from one of my somebody I really look up to here in Michigan. He says, go back, put her in a downstay, and don't talk to her, don't say anything. And just, wait until you should do that for 5 or 10 minutes. I'm like, okay. So we went back out there and we did that. And then I said, okay, find it. And I'll be damned if it wasn't an entirely different dog. We still didn't find the deer. She went a way that she had gone before, but she did it in a much different way, much more purposeful way than this, what I thought was a chaotic mess before, So I'm a big believer in that downstay, particularly if you can do it on the line if they start acting a fool.
I think it puts them in a good, calm state of mind. And down is definitely something I worked pretty hard on with Scout. But something else I did with him that a lot of people aren't going to do in the tracking world. It's more of a bird dog thing, I think. But I force fetched him. Tony helped me with that.
Force fetch is great.
I noticed so much obedience. It was so much better after I went through force fetch with him.
So for non-bird dog people, what is force
I'll
fetch?
probably do it with Harper just because I saw such a value in obedience in it.
So basically, force fetch. Depending on what you look up, you may see some pretty rough stuff, and it can get that way. But basically, you are forcing the dog to do what you command. I don't really, Craig. Maybe you could put it in a polite way. I can't think of the best way to.
Well, there's people that do it through something called toe pinching, ear pinching, different ways. I didn't have to do any of that with him. He's obviously a smart dog anyway, but it was just my commands and just being stern with him in a prong collar. Prong collar was the key for me, and I did not have to use that very long.
And you do it in a controlled environment.
Yep.
Typically you build a force fetch table.
That's what it was on. It was on a table, and it's more or less it. I started with a rolled up glove, and it's just to get that dog to hold that, not chew it, not hard. Like I said, it's kind of a bird dog thing, but to get that dog to go get that glove, or when we advance to bumpers, whatever, and bring your force teaching fetch, but it's huge obedience from
So
what I saw.
here is what Chat GPT says. The question is, in the dog training context, what does force fetch mean? Force fetch, also called trained retrieve, is a structured training process used mostly in hunting and working dogs to teach a reliable, consistent retrieve on command, no matter the dog's mood, distractions, or fatigue. What it actually means, at its core, force fetch teaches the dog to take an object on command, to hold it calmly until told to release, to deliver it directly to the handler's hand. The force part refers to the use of pressure and release training, not abuse. The dog learns, apply pressure, perform the correct behavior, pressure stops. How it is typically done. Traditional force fetch often includes ear pinch or toe hitch, mild physical pressure, transition later to an e-collar for reinforcement, repetition off with objects like dummies, bumpers, or game birds. The sequence usually goes teach, hold, and pressure to encourage taking the object, picking up from the ground, build toward full retrieves with distance and distraction. So, yeah, there it is. Little pressure.
Yeah, and it's and it. Some people, it has a black eye with some people because there's people that abuse it, just like people that abuse e-collar training.
Oh, of course.
But if done properly, you don't have to. It's like Craig said, you don't have to apply a ton of pressure. It's applying the proper pressure at the right time.
Yep, that's cool.
And reading that now, you probably understand. I couldn't think of the right words to put it in, but now you probably see the value is because the the dog's understanding that hey, I gotta do what my master says.
Yeah. Yep.
Or consequences.
Yep. Yeah, we lost Craig. I'm sure he'll be back here.
He's going to have a more challenging time with a cur doing that versus a lab or a draught or style.
Yeah, I don't tend to do force fetch training with Rizzo. I will tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's definitely value in it. Bird dogs, shed dogs.
Oh, there you go.
And there's value in tracking dogs. I mean, but like I said, it's going to be a little more of a challenge with a cur.
Yep. Ansley Appling says we use force fetch on our shed hunting dogs, and it made a huge difference in performance. So you just said shed hunting.
You say force fetch is more challenging with a cur, you think?
It will be.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kerr says, "Oh yeah, try this force on for size.
Yeah.
You're gonna bite my ear, I'm gonna bite yours." I'm just kidding.
It's definitely everything you said and read, but I noticed a huge. It was, I guess I would put it as a respect from the dog for me.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, like you said, any method could be abused, and it boils down to your experience, your philosophy, what you're naturally drawn to. I am not a dog trainer at all. I just want my dog to follow, to use Kenny's phrase, I want my dog to solve a track. That's what I want it to do. And it's up to me.
I like my tracking dogs a little wild. I'll admit that, and that's why I like. That's why I like Curs. That's why I like the Teckles. That's why I like Scout. I mean, you don't get me wrong, Scout's super obedient, but he will be as wild as you let him be. And I like a dog that is independent, that doesn't rely on me, and they just get out there and hunt.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's one reason why, like I said, my focus isn't so much at the end of the trail; it's the hunt. I want to just get out there and hunt. And that's why I like the Curs.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for too. Is just I want fierce independence, but I want fierce, accurate independence, but I want recall obedience. With that fierce independence. So, yeah. Man, I'm getting fired up. I want to go lay a hoof only line now, Craig. See if that little Rizzo will do it now.
I'm guessing she probably would.
I can tell you, Hoss loves a deer leg. I mean, he loves a deer leg, but he's just doesn't have the maturity yet for me to want to start him.
Yeah.
And that's where I don't want to burn her out.
Yeah.
I don't want to burn Harper out either, but at the same point, she's doing so good, and I don't know.
Well, look, man, does she seem to enjoy doing it? She must.
Oh, yeah. When she gets that hide or hoof or whatever I got at the end, it's tail up, chest out, back to the truck the whole way.
Oh, yeah, just as proud as a peacock.
Very proud. I said something to Kenny the other day. I'd never seen this before. Not that I have a ton of experience, but it was real. It's every single track, and it's hilarious. But when she gets it, if I let her keep it, which I have been for now, she follows that track backwards to the truck. We could see the truck, and it might be 100 yards this way, but she's going to take that track turn for turn, step for step backwards.
No kidding.
And I don't understand why. It's the weirdest thing. It'll take.
I would say.
Kenny hit a bad spot.
Reason. It'll take her 15 minutes to run that track, but she'll run it backwards step for step in 2 minutes to the truck. It's just weird, and maybe that's normal, but I've never seen it. But
yeah,
it's kind of funny.
Kenny, you broke up when you were talking. You were commenting on Harper following the line back to the truck.
Sorry, guys, I lost signal there.
Yeah. But tell us what you were going to say when Craig was commenting about Harper backtracking all the way to the truck, step for step.
I didn't hear that part. What I was going to respond, or what I was trying to respond to, was about burning her out. I would say you have less risk of burning her out by working her like that than you're going to burn her out more by not challenging her enough, by not giving her enough problems to solve. That's where you're going to mess up. That's where I messed up with Xena. She got bored with it and she was done. But when season came and I turned her loose, it was game on. She knew what to do.
And I'm basically following your steps that you gave me. I'm just at a different level than you because obviously I work. So I'm doing it once or twice on a weekend. And at this point, I'm not really putting a lot of pressure on her. I'm just seeing what she can do. She's just done everything I've given to her.
Yeah. Well, that's different. That's fine.
Yeah. And I think that's okay, considering what we were talking about. Kenny doesn't even start his dogs generally till roughly that 6 months period, depending on what the dog is indicating. And here we are, Craig, at 4 months. Trying to do it, but everybody does. everybody, a lot of people start their dogs young, so
Right.
that's why I'm not panicked yet. Harper certainly
Nah,
seems to
no,
be, yeah. Harper certainly seems to be more engaged and take to it a little more than Rizzo does, based on what you're describing and based on what I've seen.
She's
But
all about it. And she gets a
I'm not
little,
worried. Yeah,
her tail goes from up to straight, and she gets a little crook in her tail when she gets on that scent.
does
It's
she?
it's kind
now,
of weird.
I will say one thing I like, Craig, we talked about it, the back trailing herself on the way back out.
Mm-hmm.
We do that a lot, and I'll tell you why. We track off lead a lot. So we we encourage the dog to trail themselves back out
Yeah.
because when I hit that tone button and they're, you know 800 yards away, I want them to find their way back. That's one thing I had to work on with Scout is, he would get out there and he knew, I mean, he was collar conditioned. He knew to come back on, whenever I told him, but he could not find his way back. He wouldn't trail himself back. So that's something we had to train.
Okay.
Yeah.
How far out was he getting?
700-800 yards.
Oh yeah. See, yeah, he never had that here.
Right. So
He'd get a
that's
couple hundred yards away, and I would tone him, and he had great recall, but he could basically see me most of the time.
so I mean, there's definitely value in a dog trailing itself back out.
Good to know.
Yeah.
It just was weird to me, and it was neat to watch.
Yeah. That is cool. Brew will do that in the real world too. If I tone her back, or one time she found the deer while I waited on the side of the river because I didn't want to. I had to wait it, so I didn't want to get wet if I didn't have to. So I just let her go and watched her on the Garmin. And when she stopped moving and then got impatient because I wasn't coming, she turned around and followed her red line all the way back to us. I looked at the hunter. I go, shoot, we got to go. I think she found it. So we forded the river, and sure enough, the end of that red line was a dead deer.
Oh, Dixie, she doesn't really stick with the deer at the end. She will come back prancing and
Okay,
like hey, proud of herself that she found it and wanting to brag. She'll come back with this little happy prance and then turn around and take you back to it.
but she'll
And
take
then
you
you get
back
to
to
it.
it. Yeah,
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
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 I think that's cool though. I'd be perfectly fine with that. Have a very distinct tell, and then she'll lead you back to it. I think that's great. I think that's great. Yeah, cool.
Not to get
Now
off
Scout,
subject, but
he might be trying to drag this deer to you.
You're breaking up pretty bad, Kenny.
Yeah, we're crossing Lake Pontchartrain. I'm gonna hop off of here because it's gonna get bad for a little while.
Okay,
But I
Lake
appreciate it.
Pontchartrain. I've been across there. Yeah, yeah. You go. Hey, are you going across the middle of the lake, or are you up alongside the west side of it?
We're on I-10, so I'm
Oh
not
yeah,
sure.
yeah. No, I'm with you. You're going the other way. I'm coming up from New Orleans when I go through Lake Pontchartrain. You're coming across from Florida, so you're north of it. Yeah, I think. I don't know what you are. I don't know. I know where you're at though. Cool.
Yeah, we don't go. We cut off before we get to New Orleans.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, man.
Well, I'll hop off of here. I'm losing you.
Yeah, that's cool, man. We're gonna read some comments and probably wrap it up. But Craig did have a comment or question.
I was actually going to ask Kenny something about Scout. I didn't want to get off subject, but that's fine.
Oh, I'm sorry, buddy.
No, you're
Yeah.
good. No problem.
Let's grab some comments here. Travis Connor, how's the potty training going? It's going okay, Travis. Still got to pay attention, but it's going okay. She's a puppy. Chad Pickett is Kenny's phone charged. That's a callback to when his phone died on that elite test in Florida. Megan answered Chris Shrewsbury's question in Tennessee. Joe Tenney, I haven't done anything with Blue yet, but he's got the basic commands down solid now, so it starts this week. Yeah, and I got to get better at the basic commands too. I mean, we've done stuff, but I've got to do more, be more consistent with it. She's okay, but she's only okay because it's my fault, not because she's incapable. Larry says, I backed off doing anything with Pearl. She can do it, but I didn't want to push her too hard. And honestly, I need to work more on basic obedience. And Larry, I see you commented later that you need to hear that stuff. Yeah, I think you can do both. Like we said, if Pearl's showing interest, hell, let her do her thing. I'm going to start doing more with Rizzo. Cody Weeks, I'm starting from scratch with a 2-year-old great bloodline litter mates from some tracking friends, and we are going to set the woods on fire one way or another this fall. You better believe that. That's right, Cody. Attack it with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind, buddy. Good luck. Yeah, Joe Tenney. Last year, I just forced myself to run Sage first, his year-old Ladner, then run Meadow after we didn't find it. So Meadow was his veteran bloodhound. Yeah, and I remember Joe talking how Sage quickly became his A dog, which got me fired up about a Ladner. Gene Ferris, Cody Weeks, we got 3 weeks, three to work on, and 1 blackmouth cur, so we're going to get it straight. That's great, man. Clayton, when we was talking about getting a new dog, Clayton Johnson says, whatever excuse we need for more dogs, that's right. Now, let's see. Megan Schmidt, I agree with Kenny 100%. I agree with that 100%. Kenny Creel and I been told is my better tracking dog. He's shown it, but Briar is definitely my crutch. I trust her more, so she's my default. Creel would be much more seasoned if I used him more. Last season, I used him 50-50, and it was great for us collectively. This season, Creel will be my lead dog. Yeah, so going back to your second dog always suffers a little bit because you go with your the old trusty standby. Yeah, Joe Tenney reminds us 5 months to zero in, no rush. And you're absolutely right, Joe, no rush, especially when we got serviceable dogs. Larry Beckham says, it's funny this is coming up about waiting on the dog to mature. I just had this conversation with Kenny on my Teckle. It's hard because we want the dog to be good. We want it to happen on our time. Yeah, and I fell victim to that. I totally got Rizzo thinking, man, I'm just going to slow roll this. We'll do stuff. And now I'm like, man, I'm kind of jonesing to get out. I want to see her do her thing, and trying to do it on her pace, or my pace. But I'm going to step. This was a good conversation for me too, because Rizzo still shows distraction. She shows an interest in tracking, but she shows an interest in distraction. So we'll get there. Craig Michael Beck says you need a German short hair pointer to appreciate the draught.
I think they're both nuts.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Fun dogs, good, smart dogs.
Yep. John Keslick, I started 2 labs, one at 10 months and another at 4 months. The older started dog would learn and retain 3 times as much per training session. So it's just their ability. Yeah, I agree with that. You know what I was going to mention, and I'm glad I read that, John, because it triggered me. Guys, go to for those that have a puppy. If you haven't seen this article, I actually think it's a section in John Genonet's book, the Green Book. But it's on the UBT website. It's under, I believe, resources, and there's an article by John called "Early Training," and it's really good. It's like a page and a half, maybe 2 pages, and it's really cool. Talking about the that's where I got the puppy's nose is far more developed than its brain ability to process the information the nose is taking in. So got to be patient because it can smell all of that stuff, but the brain doesn't know what to do with all of that stuff yet at this puppy stage. So go to, I may have even posted it in a live stream a year ago before, but I encourage everybody to go that has a puppy that hasn't seen that article yet. Go to the UBT website under resources, I believe it is, and then find that article. It's called Early Training. It's a great, it is a great read. And I have mixed feelings about the Green Book. I know it's sacrilege to say anything against it. I'm not saying anything against it. I read the book. It's a good book. But that article is really good. Let's see. Yeah, Joe Casey, Sage matured much faster than Blue. And Joe, I presume you make during that comparison when Kenny was talking about females versus male. Sage is female, Blue is a male. I got 5-year-old males. Shannon Blocker says, replying to Gene Ferris, I got a 5-year-old male and his firstborn son that's 6 months old. I have 2 Catahoula's, and this year there'll be something else. So Shannon and Joe are talking about training. Yeah, I already read Michael's comment about turning a toddler into an all-star athlete. Yeah, Clayton, I don't want algebra either. Yeah, I call that alphabet math. Travis Conner says bloodhounds have a 1-to-1 dog-year ratio. A 3-year-old toddler has the same maturity as a 3-year-old bloodhound. Yeah. I might be able to see that. I've always referred to bloodhounds as caffeine toddlers. That's just how they are all the time as a caffeine toddler. They're not the lay on the porch Duke from Beverly Hillbillies. I mean, they have those moments, but they are not like that all the time.
So now that you got Rizzo, Rizzo, is that Rizzo got your bloodhound a little more active?
Oh yeah. She terrorizes the crap out of the bloodhound. It's good. It's good for her. It's now we have my wife's little dog, so Baxter and Brew would play, but Baxter's 4 now too, so he doesn't have that puppy energy like Rizzo's got, that little Ladner Cur puppy energy, which is fun stuff. Yeah, she pesters the snot out of both of those dogs. It's really funny. It is really funny when Rizzo gets attacking my wife's little cavy poo, and they get playing too rough and Brew doesn't like it. She will go and get after Baxter, the cavy poo, and like she protects Rizzo. It's really funny. Let's see. Gene Ferris talks about when I was talking about how I would drag a leg or a hide. Gene says, I also think dragging the hide isn't bad. Yes, it's a lot of scent, but they learn to line out and they can smell the turns easier. which that allows them to learn quickly and easily all the trails aren't straight. Yeah, Gene, and there's something to that. There's something to that argument, I think. Travis Muncie says, I'm here. Travis, how are you, buddy? Michael Beck, overthinking, overanalyzing separates the body from the mind. That's when we were talking about, I forget exactly what we were talking about there. Michael Bragg, training a dog is the easy part. Training the handler is where the work begins. I can see that. I can see that, having been through it before. You know, me looking back at myself 5 years ago, totally different. Oh, Kenny, if you're listening, Ted is making the spinach soup for the event in Pennsylvania. If you like spinach soup, I hear this stuff is fantastic for those who are attending Pennsylvania. Let's see here. Yeah, Michael Beck again, who also trains dogs. Young pups, crate training, potty training, recall, obedience, environmentals, socialization. So, there's the trekking will come, man. Those are the foundational things. And that's what I've got to get better at. And I'm trying to get better at with Rizzo. It's the thing I'm the worst at, but I got to get better at it. But we're doing socialization. Have you taken Harper out to like pet-friendly stores and stuff, Craig?
No stores yet, but we're definitely getting her out. And
Yeah.
definitely been working on obedience. She's got the good sit, downstays, getting there. Recall is honestly one of my biggest things that we still got some work to do, but
Yeah, Rizzo does too.
she's been getting a lot of everything.
That's cool. Yeah, I've taken Rizzo last weekend. I took her through Lowe's, and she struts around there like she's in freaking command, strutting around that store. And I like it because you get the forklifts and the banging and the noises and lots of people crooning over the puppy, So that's good. Travis, Matthew Berger, you should take a rally class with Brood. Connor or Travis, I don't know what a rally class is. Tell me what a rally class is. Shoot me a text if you want to. Nikki Keener, I'm just a big pushover with mine. Retrain for tracking, but don't expect too much else. And that's exactly where I was with Baru. And I'm the same way. Nikki, I'm a big pushover. And I got to tell you, Nikki, hey, if you're still listening.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, go ahead, Craig. Nikki, can you either text or message me those Google Drive links to the pictures from Oklahoma? If you guys haven't seen it yet, Nikki and Shane and Mike took some great pictures in Oklahoma. I need to get those shared. So, Nikki, if you don't mind, send me the link to the to those Google Drives again, because I'll never dig them up. Yeah, Mike Padden. I would imagine a smart dog wouldn't need much as far as forcing. I put a pinch collar on my Catahoula to teach him to heel on lead. It only took about 30 yards in 3 minutes. He's no dummy. Yeah, there's something to be said for an intelligent dog. Michael, yeah, send me the video. I want to see that video you're talking about. Michael says he'll send me a video of Dexter doing a hold conditioning. It will show you how intense it is. That's when we were talking about the forced fat. So I'd like to see that, Mike. What other comments have we got here? Travis Muncie says, so after every track, I tell my dogs to take me home, and they will always backtrack me straight to the truck unless I pull them and head another way. Then it's hell. Yeah. I will tell you this. I've had Baru basically lead us to the hit site before, all by without doing much, simply because the the hunter has walked to and from it probably 3 times. He just kind of follows, leads us to the hit site. Let's see. Nikki, let me see. There was a question up here by Mike. Tracking shoes versus hoof and stick for a puppy. Michael Pitts Jr. says, buy the tracking shoes, makes it a whole lot easier. And I started Angus pretty much with the shoes. So I will tell you, this is my take on the shoes versus the stick, particularly the Wascow shoes. First of all, the shoes are awesome. They're convenient. They work great. I love them. I bought 2 pair. I got one just in case when my original set goes to pot on me, and they're getting some wear on them. I even had Darren send me some replacement parts to keep them going because I love the shoes. But this is what I will tell you. I believe a hoof on a stick is the most realistic hoof to ground contact that you get. Even the buck braid shoes or the Wascows. The Wascows leave the most scent of all of the shoes, of those 3, because you've got 6 inches of the hoof with a bone cut off, all exposed, leaving scent on the trail, on the ground. The buck braids does leave more of just the hoof because the back part is encapsulated in the retainer, the hoof retainer. So it's really just the hoof part that's exposed. But it's still the hoof part coming down flat on the ground. Whereas a hoof on a stick now makes that hoof engage more naturally with the ground. So I don't think it matters, my opinion. But the shoes are a lot easier in terms of just being able to go for a walk instead of stamping that darn hoof. My shoulders got tired when I started out with a tracking pole. But that's just my take on it. They're all fine, but the Wascows are going to leave more scent. It's just objectively they're going to. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying they do. Dixie, I have to agree with Michael. We're still using DIY hoof sticks, and I can't wait to get the shoes. So, yeah. I'm telling you, though, if you're running a lot of short lines with for a puppy, kind of like what we talked about, you're running a 50, 60, 80-yard line or something, strapping on them shoes every time you want to lay a 50-yard line is kind of a pain. So you just get that stick and just go out and pound out a puppy line. It's quicker and convenient, I think. But I love my shoes, man. I love my shoes. Let's see. Thank you for saying that. I got it, Nikki. All right. All right, man. Well, guys, look, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Craig, I appreciate you coming on and in essence, last minute, to talk about our little Ladner Cur litter mates and our approach. We'll certainly stay in touch and follow along in our that group that we're all, that Royal and Silver, Ladner Royal and Silver litter mix or litter.
No, it was fun. Thanks for asking me.
Yeah, for sure. We'll stay in touch and yes, man, keep sending me videos or whatever. I'm really interested. I may give you a call too as I compare Harper to Rizzo, and I got to be careful with the comparisons because they are all the same litter, same breed. They're individual dogs, and
right.
So
no, you probably get to see her in Michigan. I'm thinking.
Yeah, that'd be sweet, dude. I hope you come up again. Yeah, man. If you want to test her, I'm kind of hoping. I'm kind of hoping that maybe I can have Rizzo ready to test in Michigan too. If I don't, it's okay. I'm not going to worry about it. But You
And
know,
I'm the same way. If I don't think she's ready, and I'm not going to push her real hard, but
yeah,
if she can run starter level at home, I'll probably bring her. If not,
yeah,
I I'll wait another month or two. It's not a big deal.
yeah. Heck yeah, man. And you can cruise up to Joe too to get tested if you
Yep.
don't do it here. So
Yep.
Joe's
He's not
coming
far.
to Michigan too. Yeah. So Wesley Bivens, I got to read this one. It says, "Thank you guys. I wouldn't be doing this without you." Well, Wesley, thank you, man. We appreciate the kind words and the support. And yeah, man, glad to do it, buddy. So keep on slugging. So anyway, guys, yeah, we're right at the 2 hour mark. I appreciate it, and you guys keep the comments rolling. We'll try to chime in as we go back and read them later. But oh, Nikki, you sent me stuff already. Thank you. But Craig, thanks a lot. And again, guys, topics. If you have a topic you would like to hear us talk about, or would like to join in the conversation and participate in the stream, give me a shout. Always looking for something to keep it fresh. We're every 2 weeks, but Craig, I appreciate it, dude, and we'll hang with me for just a minute here as we cut off here. We'll debrief, but guys, I appreciate everybody chiming in. I appreciate all the support, and I'll see you 2 weeks from today, guys. More of the good, less of the bad. Talk to you soon. Thank you.